Good morning, you beautiful English learners. My name is Ronan, and today we're going to look at a whole bunch of different idioms with the word power. Now, before you watch this, you might want to download the free workbook. Hit the link in the description to download the workbook, follow along, and maybe write some extra notes. But this video, this tutorial, is only about the word power. Are you ready? Let's power through and get it done. Okay, so let's take a look at the word power trip. Power trip. And power trip is a noun. All right? So some questions. Have you ever had a teacher go on a power trip? You know, it's quite common for teachers to do that. Have you ever had a co-worker or like a colleague go on a power trip? And what was the result? Or, let's do some self-reflection. Have you ever gone on a power trip? So I can remember when I was in high school, I had a teacher, and the teacher was furious with our class, only because like 2 or 3 boys were misbehaving. So what did the teacher do? Well, the teacher went on a bit of a power trip and decided to give attention to the entire class, not just the students who were misbehaving, but to everybody. Now, I deemed this to be a power trip. That teacher was expressing how powerful she is in the classroom. Long story short, it didn't happen. Why? Because there's rules for shit like that, and I am absolutely not going down with the rest of the ship when I did absolutely nothing wrong. So a power trip. A power trip refers to a situation where a person behaves in a controlling or authoritarian manner. Often because they have a sense of power or authority over others. They believe they have a power over you. They believe they have authority over everybody else. So a person who is on a power trip, a person who goes on a power trip, those are some common collocations, they might display behaviors like micromanaging, trying to control absolutely everything. Let's take a look at some examples with the word power trip. Number 1, ever since he's got promoted, he's been on a constant power trip, micromanaging everybody around him. Have you ever had a colleague get promoted and suddenly they believe they're the best person in the world? That's a power trip. She's always on a power trip whenever she's put in charge, making unreasonable demands and asserting her authority at every opportunity. His power trip became evident when he started flaunting his position to belittle others and to impose his will without considering other people's perspectives, without talking to other people. Number 4, I can't stand working with him anymore. He's always on some sort of power trip, acting like he's the boss of the freaking universe. Oh, you might want to avoid John today. He's on another power trip. Yeah, he's just been a bit of a douchebag. What is this? Are you on some sort of power trip right now? That's something that you can say to someone if you really want to up the ante and make them more angry. So power trip, folks, a beautiful noun, a beautiful idiom that we use in English all the time. So go back to the questions at the start. Have you ever had a teacher go on a power trip? Have you ever had a co-worker go on a power trip? Have you ever had a boss, a colleague, or have you ever gone on a power trip? Okay, so moving on from power trip, we're going to move on and have a look at to be drunk on power. To be drunk. What is drunk? Inebriated, intoxicated, usually from taking alcohol. You take too much alcohol, you get drunk, all right? But if you're drunk on power, it's equating power to a drug like alcohol. It's equating power to something that will make you intoxicated because it's so good. It is so amazing. So you might be intoxicated by the power that you have at a job. And if you are drunk on power, it's incredibly bad. It's incredibly bad because 1, you probably don't realize you're drunk on power, and 2, you're really going to piss people off around you because you're not using your power effectively. You're drunk on power. So for example, number 1, since getting promoted, He's been acting like he's drunk on power, making decisions without considering anybody, kind of similar to a power trip. The politicians seem to be drunk on power, ignoring the concerns of citizens and pushing through policies for their own benefits. I think that's one that we can all connect to or all relate to. Politicians, drunk on power, only doing things that are good for them. Sounds about right. When she was put in charge, she became drunk on power, wielding her authority in a way that seemed more about control than effective leadership. So, power trip and drunk on power, they both describe situations where individuals exhibit behavior stemming from like a sense of authority or control, but there are very, very slight differences between them. Drunk on power would suggest a state where someone becomes intoxicated by the control that they have, intoxicated by the power that they have. However, if you are on a power trip, you're kind of like drunk on power, but more extreme, more dangerous because you know what you're doing. You know, you're not drunk, you're just being a douchebag, essentially. So in summary, both of these concepts, drunk on power, power trip, refer to behaviors driven by authority. Power trip is more subtle in terms of how the person yields their authority or yields their power, and to be drunk on power is certainly more loud. It's a lot louder, people notice it more, and you are behaving as if you're drunk. All right, the next idiom with power that we're going to look at is to let the power go to your head. To let it go to your head. And this is such a common one because so many people, as soon as they get into a position of power, they let the power go to their head. So what does that mean exactly? Well, we use it to describe a person who becomes arrogant, describe a person who becomes egotistical. We use it to describe someone who believes they're better than everybody else around them because they have a little bit of authority, because they have a little bit of power. So generally speaking, people who are in authority can have power go to their heads. And I think the best example of that is Eric Cartman from South Park. Are you familiar with South Park? If not, shame on you. And you should absolutely watch it because it's an amazing television show. But one of the characters, Eric Cartman, whenever he gets a teeny, tiny bit of authority, he lets it go to his head and he goes on a power trip. He believes he is more powerful than every single person there is. So, Eric Cartman lets power go to his head. And when power goes to your head, you think your decision is the only decision. You think your decision is always right. You're not going to communicate with others. You're not going to talk to others because why would you? You're the boss and you're obviously the best at what you do. To be honest, if someone does let power go to their head, we sometimes call them a little Hitler. Have you heard that? Like a little Hitler. Now just imagine a baby Hitler running around the room telling people what to do. Yeah, the power has gone to their head. So have you ever seen a person let power go to their head? Have you ever noticed anyone change as soon as they got power? Sometimes, when a person suddenly gets power, it goes to your head. So how are you able to use this expression in your day-to-day English-speaking life? Number 1, don't let the power go to your head. Good advice to give to someone who just got a job. Look, I know you just got promoted, but a word of advice, do not let the power go to your head. You must respect your staff. Number 2, hey Ronan, I think you're letting the power go to your head. You're president of the chess club, not the country. You know, it's kind of something that happens in small communities or small areas where you might have a club and the club is a lot of fun and then you elect a new president of the club or something and then suddenly they believe they're the president of the world when in reality they're president of just something that's tiny, for instance. Number 3, after his promotion to the manager, it did not take him long to let the power go to his head and started treating his colleagues like children. Very bad. Number 4, you know, Sarah used to be so down to earth, But ever since she won the local election, the power has gone to her head. She's acting like she's above everyone else. She's acting like she is above everyone else. Beautiful phrase. And if you act like you're above everyone else, you behave, you believe you are better than everybody else. Not good. So long story short, folks, if power goes to your head, an individual in a position of authority can become blinded by their power. They can almost become intoxicated by their power to detrimental consequences for themselves or for everyone else. Like, can you imagine your company appoints a new manager and that manager lets the power go to their head? It could cause a lot of issues between the staff working there. It could cause a lot of issues between other companies that your company does business with. So overall, we have the phrase to let power go to your head, and it is negative, absolutely negative. Okay, the third expression that we're going to look at with the word power is a power move. This is a very, very important one. Often used in business. Often used when one person wants to let everybody know who the mother effing boss is. Okay? So a power move refers to like an action or a decision made with the intention of letting every single person know you're in charge. That is what a power move is. It is used to get one up on other people. It is not necessarily ethical. It is not necessarily going to help everybody. But by the end of the power move, you're in charge and everybody knows it. What are some different power moves in history? What is something that someone did just to let everyone know how strong they really are? One example I was thinking of, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Let's be honest, the US dropped these 2 nuclear bombs on these 2 Japanese cities and absolutely wiped them out, leveled them. That was a power move, a huge move, a bold move. I don't know how many people died, but let's just say millions of people died. And the world now knew the US was the biggest dick in town because they had nuclear weapons and nobody else did. So that was a power move. After that happened, everyone kind of realized that, oh man, they've upped the game here. They've become a lot stronger than we thought. They have power. So, for instance, her decision to take charge of the project without consulting anyone else was a real power move, signaling her authority and determination to lead. Her decision to take charge of the project without consulting anyone else was a real power move. Very common way to use it. Why was it a power move? She didn't need help from anyone else. She didn't even consult anyone else. She just did it herself. That, my friends, is a power move. If it works, it's a power move. If it doesn't work, you really screwed up. So remember that. Sometimes it's a good one. Sometimes it might be negative. Let's imagine 2 big companies. One company is running out of money. The other company in the same field has boatloads of money. So they offer to buy out the competition. That's a power move on the market. They're going to let everyone know that, look how big our checkbook is. We're going to buy this, we're going to buy that, and we're going to buy that. That's how big our company is. So by offering to buy out the competition, the company made a bold power move. Bold, B-O-L-D. A bold power move, solidifying its position as a dominant player in the industry. Beautiful phrase. Check it out in the workbook. So what are some ways to kind of like do a power move? Well, here's some nasty ones. Number 1, say the wrong name to a person. Hey, Ronald, how's it going? Ronald. My name's not Ronald, it's Ronan. Am I going to correct you? Maybe, maybe not. It just depends. But that could be seen as a power move. Spelling a person's name wrong intentionally. Power move. Why? You're showing the person that you're the boss and that you didn't really take time. Another power move. If you're at a meal with someone You might want to do a financial power move by ordering the most expensive item on the menu and not even flinching. You know, whenever I go to a restaurant, I look at the prices and then I decide what to eat. However, I would love for the day when I'm rich enough that I could just pull out a bold power move and be like, yeah, give me 2 of those. Whatever those are, the most expensive things, for example. And another way to have a power move or to assert authority over a person is to like belittle them in front of others. It's a nasty one. I never said it was good. A nasty power move. And that is like to highlight a person's mistakes in front of everyone else. So you can belittle a person. To belittle a person is to make them feel small, to make them feel unworthy, for example. And that is a horrible way to go on a power trip. That is a horrible way to assert your power. That is a horrible power move, folks. Power move. So another good idiom there. All right, let's move on and take a look at the last one, the phrasal verb to power through. Love, love, love this phrasal verb. This phrasal verb is sensational, and it can be literal or it can be figurative. Let's talk about it in the literal way first, a literal way to power through. Imagine you're holding the door and I'm pushing it. And then I push the door wide open. I power through the door, literally. I played rugby for a long time in my life, folks. And you know, in rugby, you have 2 choices. You can try run around a player or you can run through a player. Now, I was never the fastest, but I was certainly one of the strongest and definitely one of the biggest, as you can see. So what did I do? I would power through people. I would just get the ball and go straight. Didn't matter who was there. Didn't matter how big the person was. I would just always go straight and I would hope I could power through a person. So maybe if you have siblings, you can relate to this example. Have you ever had a sibling try to hold the door closed so you can't go in? Similar to the first example I gave. Well, there have been times in my life when I've literally had to power through the door because my siblings were trying to hold it closed. Like, I'm the baby of my family. But I'm also the biggest in my family and the heaviest in my family. And obviously the most beautiful in my family. But the big part was that if my brother and sister took something from me, they might run away, hide in a room, and they'd be holding the door closed, trying to hold it closed. Well, bloody hell, Ronan was a big boy and I would just run straight into the door and I would power through the door as if it were not there. So to power through is to use physical force to get through something. And, you know, it's not just used in terms of me opening a door or running through a person, but in construction, you might need to power through something. You know, you need more muscle on a project. And I'm not talking physical muscle. I'm talking like heavy machinery. And the machinery can power through that in no time, for example. But the figurative way to use power through is far more interesting, far more common. All right? So, if you're tired, I might say to you, look, I know you're tired, but I need you to power through. I need you to really focus and just get it done, okay? So look, I know you're exhausted. I know you've been working your ass off on this project for so long, but we're so close to finishing. I just need you to power through and get it done. Sometimes I might be on a hike with some friends. And maybe we're getting a little bit tired. Well, at that stage, you need to give them a pep talk. You know, you need to encourage them. You need to motivate them. You need to push them to do something. So you might say, all right, folks, listen up. I know we've been hiking for 10 hours today. I know we're tired. I know our feet hurt. And I know your backpack is heavy and it's digging into your shoulders, but I need you all to power through for this hike. There is only 5 kilometers left. The sun is setting. Now let's fucking do it. Let's power through this hike. Let's power through the last 5 kilometers. And that is a way to encourage people to get more energy, to go for it. So power through. Literally, to use more power than someone or something else and break through it. Figuratively, to have more energy, to focus more, to grind it out when you're tired is to power through something. So, I think that's it for today, folks. That is a bunch of idioms, all related to the word power. Now, before I sign off, please go to my website and please download the free workbook for this tutorial all about the word power. The link is in the description. The link is also right there, I think. littlesealenglish.com. Folks, I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. My name is Ronan. This is Little Seal English. Bye for now.